close with and who are like-minded and, keep each other sane during all this being stuck, as you say, in like a silo trying to work on your own.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And especially even if I go back to the very start of this, so the end of March, April, when we all went into lockdown, everybody was freaking out. Like, people were losing businesses and couldn't see the wood for the trees. And, we had a run of a series of events that I just put on events. I says, whoever wants to come along. And, like some people were distraught, but the group really helped people come up with ideas or provide that support for them to kind of like give them that much needed, give a bit of a security blanket, a bit of a hug at that point in time, to be like, it is going to be okay, like we will get through this and there's plenty of options out there. That it's just been so important. So that the community aspect, it's just really nailed home for me that is what I stand for. It's not a sales event, it's a community event that I hold, and I think it's just been an important service. I think sometimes you're a bit like, oh, this is just my wee business, like hope that it does well, but it's like, no, actually people have really needed this year, and it's just been a really great community. So I'm just excited to kind of build on that for 2021 and see where everybody gets to.
I think Lorna brought up a really important point there about showing up for our audience and realizing that there are people out there that have need for whatever we are providing, and that sometimes if you need a little bit of a push to keep going or to put the effort into reworking things and trying something new, reminding yourself that you are helping other people, that it's not just a business, that can make a really big difference. And my next guest had a similar experience in lockdown where she pivoted, that pivot word that is being way overused, but seems to perfectly describe what we've all done. Jill adapted her business from PR to Instagram training and working a little bit more in the digital marketing side of things, as she saw a real need for that amongst her audience. Jill's business is called Midlife Smarts, and she is here to tell us all about the big changes that she made and what she plans to focus on moving forward into 2021.
Hey Jill, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Obviously, start of January, it's a time to sort of reflect back on last year and make some plans for this year. So I'm keeping busy and keeping positive. Yeah.
Good. I think we've all maybe got thrown a bit of a loop, whether you sort of expected it to come or not, but starting a year off in a lockdown is obviously a little bit less than ideal, but it's, I think, given everybody a little bit of time to sort of reflect back on 2020 and what they learned last year. So if there's one sort of standout lesson in your mind from 2020, I would love to hear it.
Oh, wow, a lot of lessons last year, but the one I suppose that sticks with me is really not trying to control life. I mean, like, we all have our plans in place and then life throws you a wobbly, and it's really I think last year taught me you have to just go with the circumstances and adjust as quickly as you can, and try and keep nimble with it, because otherwise you would just get caught up in waiting for normality to return and putting life on hold. So that wasn't really the route I wanted to go down.
No, I think you're right. And that everybody sort of built up that skill last year about having, everyone's using the word pivot, but even just the adaptability of small businesses to change with the times. And as you're saying, sometimes it was very much this realization that I can't keep doing the work I was doing. What am I going to do? How am I going to better serve my audience? And then coming up with it as we go. And I think we all really had to think on our feet. So it was good. I mean, it was challenging at the time, but I think it was a good lesson to learn and something that you can carry forward no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I was in the lucky position in that I've worked from home for a long time, so that wasn't a huge adjustment for me, but a lot of the work that I was used to doing changed or was cancelled. I work in a lot of big events, so it really was a case of starting with a blank sheet of paper and saying, right, what am I going to do for the next few months? So yeah, it was quite a challenge.
So do you feel now, I mean, hopefully we won't have to do this again. Hopefully that's it for surprises and big changes. But do you feel now, having the experience that you had last year and having to change quickly, as you say, and starting with that blank slate, do you feel now like if you had to, you could do it again?
Well, me personally, yeah, I think it was a big learning curve. And yeah, I think I've learned how to be more adaptable than I was, say, a year ago. So yeah, hopefully some good has come out of this for us in some ways. So yeah.
Being adaptable is something that we all had to add to our skill set this year, I think. And while some of us were maybe a little bit more resistant to it than others, I think we all learned that we have the capacity to become adaptable, and we all got a little bit of experience in doing so. My next guest, Sandra, has a lesson in adaptability to share as well. While her lesson could have happened at any point in time, she shares a really great example with us. She is one of the brave few who weathered the storm of the pandemic in their very first year in business. Sandra runs Chia and Chai, a really cool mail order tea service, loose leaf teas, and she has a wealth of knowledge about tea as well. But this little clip is all about adaptability and bringing that forward into 2021.
Hey Sandra, how are you feeling now that we're on the other side of 2020?
Yeah, well, it was a big rush at the December time with orders coming in, which was fabulous. And then a bit of a break, but got back at the start of January and really ready to get on with it. So yeah, excited.
That's good. It sounds like in most people that I'm speaking with anyway, everybody really needed that break, but is now kind of ready to get back into it and feeling quite positive. And I think a big part of that is because we've had a little bit of time to reflect on last year and what we learned. And I know probably for most of us, there's more than one lesson that we've learned. But if you had to pick sort of one standout lesson from 2020 that you're going to carry forward as you continue to grow your business, what would yours be?
Well, my business was new in 2020. So not just the experience of, all of the stuff that we had to go through, but setting up the business as well. And I think the big lesson I took from it was nothing's forever. The decisions that we make can actually be changed. And my background's in banking, where each decision that we made was made by so many people, so many committees of people to get to a decision to change something. But running your own business, you don't have that. And so you can actually change it when you need to. So it's a good example when I was packaging up my tea to send out to my customers, and I'd done all my pricing, I'd got myself all organised, got it all lovely wrapped. Off to the post office I went, and the price to post the tea was different to the price that I had put into my pricing model. Obviously, the price to post the tea was more expensive than I had worked it out on. And I just thought, oh my goodness, I've got these pouches of tea, they're costing me more to post now, I don't have the profit. This is just not going to work. I'm going to have to work so much harder to try and make more sales to get my profit. I was so upset, I was devastated. What a day that was. And I was talking about it with my partner, and we were like, there must be an answer to this. There must be an answer. What do I need to do? And then I said, look, I can't be the only person this has ever happened to. I'm phoning my supplier. I phoned the supplier and we talked about it, and he said, oh, you don't want it to be small parcel size, you want it to be large letter. And I went, yes. And he went, that's fine, we'll use a bigger pouch. So nothing's forever. I don't have to use that one pouch size. I can change it. I don't need a committee to tell me I can change it. Just me and him worked it out. And that's all fine. I'm back to the profit model the pricing model that I wanted. And everything's fine. So that was a big lesson. You can just change things, and it's not the end of the world when something maybe goes wrong or you do have to move in a slightly different direction. It's absolutely fine. It'll all work out.
That's such a good one. And it's really true. You know what you said, if you come from a sort of corporate background, or even myself, I used to do a lot of communications and marketing for nonprofits and arts organizations. So it was a little bit different. I did kind of get to take the lead on some things, but then everything always had to be run by a board. And you would obviously have all different opinions. And every time a sort of major decision had to be made, you felt like it was such a big process. Whereas when you're in business with yourself, you might want to run an idea past your partner or another small business owner or whatever, but in the end, you can make that change and you can make it pretty much instantly. So that's a great one to carry forward.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I do rely on input from other people. I'm not scared to ask for help. You know, in that situation, this isn't just happening to me for the first time ever. This has happened before. So who can help me with the answer? And I think that is important to do. You know, I don't have a huge amount of experience in running a business, so being willing to ask for help is important, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just even that, you know, the other part of what you said about things not being forever, I think that's a really, it's almost what's the right word here? It's like an empowering realization, because even when you're thinking about writing, say you're writing website content and you're trying to get your website up and running, or you're changing something on your website and you're writing and you're going, oh, this isn't perfect. This isn't perfect. I do that all the time. Whenever it's anything to do with writing or editing photos, it's like I keep going back and back to it. It's never good enough. But actually, you're much better to just get it done, because you can always go back and change it. And I think that's something that I need to like write in big letters above my desk, I think, to remember it, because I totally fall into that trap.
A friend of mine who runs her own business as well, we were chatting and I was telling her the story about my posting of my tea, and she said, nobody is as close to your business as you are. And so actually, you know, people don't know it as inside out as you do. So you make it this massive problem, and actually it's not really. People, you know, if you actually had to add £1 on to help you with the cost of that extra postage, would anybody notice? You know, so it's kind of, you know, it's just being willing to be a bit adaptable and to make some changes, because, you know, it's not life and death here. It's a beautiful tea, but it's not life and death. So it's fine to change it.
Sandra's point is such an interesting one, and I think it seems quite obvious on the surface. Like, if I asked you, do you think that your entire audience has your business top of mind 24/7? I'm willing to bet you would answer no. Obviously, we all have so much going on in our own lives that we don't really notice how much is going on, you know, in the lives of the people that we follow on Instagram. But it's funny how we all, or most of us anyway, seem to get caught up in that sometimes, what people expect of us, or what they'll think if we don't post one day, or if we launch something a little bit later than planned, or if we decide to change our packaging or the way that we post things. It's so easy to get hung up on this and worry about what people are going to think, but in the grand scheme of things, they're probably not going to mind, and probably not even going to notice. My next guest talks about a different kind of change. Instead of changing the way that she did things, she actually gained the confidence and the courage to try something new due to lockdown. Shuna is a fabulous baker. Her business is called The Tea Jenny, and she has some insights to share on new priorities, changing priorities, and willingness to try something a little bit new.
Hey Shuna, how are you feeling at the start of 2021?
Well, I'm doing okay, I think. And businesses had to stop, unfortunately, but because the wee one obviously no preschool. So, but we're just taking